Hey guys, Mike here. So today, I'm here to talk to you about The New Mutants. In this review, I'll be going over a brief summary of the plot, my quick thoughts about the film, and whether or not you guys should go and see it. So I'm going to try and keep this review spoiler-free. However, if you don't know anything about the film, and you want to go in completely blind, then it's just come into this video once you've seen the film. So with that, let's get started, shall we? So The New Mutants stars Blue Hunt as Danielle Moonstar. In The New Mutants, 5 young mutants discovering their abilities while held against their will at a secret facility attempt to escape to not only save their lives, but also escape their past sins. And so we have The New Mutants. Well guys, it's finally happened. The New Mutants has finally come out. Now, for those of you who don't know, this movie has been in development hell for a while now. I don't know the full story about behind the scenes, but all I knew is that this movie was suffering for a while. I've heard of movies being pushed back once, maybe even twice, but never 4 times. This movie was pushed back 4 times. Partly because Fox was bought out by Disney, but mainly probably because of the fact that it didn't want to collide with other projects that were similar to it. It just kept getting pushed back till eventually now we are all able to watch The New Mutants. So, what did they think of The New Mutants? Well, to be honest, I didn't really have the best of expectations going into this one. It's pretty much the last breath of what was a dying franchise already, partly due to the quality of movies that the X-Men franchise was bringing out, but mainly because of the fact of that, obviously, they were bought out by Disney. So productions obviously suffered quite a bit. And with everything that was going on with this movie, it really begged the question, why even release it? Do we even need to see this movie? Is it important for the future? But before we get to that, let's just talk about the actual movie itself. First of all, the characters. They were fine, I guess. Really, probably the most interesting thing about these characters was their powers. And I would say they did have some interesting powers. The CGI around them looked really good, they were used fairly decently, they played into their characters quite well, and I would say they did work for this story. And though I didn't really think that much about these characters, I wouldn't mind seeing them in another movie, though I can't imagine they're actually going to appear in an MCU movie or even any other New Mutants movies. But nevertheless, characters, yeah, they're fine. One of the funniest things was Maisie Williams' character. The fact that the girl who played Arya Stark transforms into a wolf as part of her power. Don't you think that's a little bit on the nose? I don't know, it was a good power nonetheless, I guess. One of the things I did hear about The New Mutants before going into it was that it was supposed to be a horror. And I would say it did handle the horror aspect fairly well. I wouldn't say this film was particularly scary, but you did see the psychological impact that the events of this movie were having on the characters. And it kind of helped to push the story forward and make them feel stronger as a unit. But to be honest, I would say that The New Mutants' biggest crime is that it's just a bit generic and kind of forgettable. Because I wouldn't say this movie was actively bad. I imagine there are other people out there who can probably point out all the mistakes, or all the problems, or all the inconsistencies that this movie probably had. But for myself personally, I didn't really notice any of that. I fairly enjoyed my time watching this one, but like I said, it was just kind of forgettable. Other than some of the impressive action scenes that they had in this film, I couldn't really remember anything that happened in this one. Overall, guys, honestly, there isn't really much I can say about The New Mutants. It's pretty much as generic as a superhero movie can probably get. The characters were fine, the CGI looked quite good, the horror element plays in fairly well with the characters, but beyond that, there's not really much else to say about this one. But now, as for whether or not you guys should go and see it, honestly, even though I fairly enjoyed this film, I wouldn't recommend watching it. If you're not really into superhero movies, then you probably won't get any real enjoyment out of this one. And if you are into superhero movies, you've probably seen everything that happens in this movie a million times before in other superhero movies. And because I don't really think that it's going to play much into the X-Men's future, there's not much point getting invested in these characters because I don't think we'll see them ever again. And even if we do see these characters pop up again, I wouldn't say this movie's worth seeing just for that. So honestly, I would say, do yourselves a favour, give The New Mutants a miss, because you're not really missing out on anything. Okay guys, that's my review of The New Mutants. If you've seen it, what did you think about it? And what's your favourite X-Men movie? Whatever it is, drop it in the comments below. Until next time, I've been Michael. See ya!